So without further ado, I'd like to ask Shulamith to start.
Forgive me for sitting because I'm nothing but a girl. And I'm here for very strange reasons. I opened my emails one day, and with many hundreds I get, I find out that in Taiwan they are working on a girls-friendly city. So it makes me very irky. Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Forgive me for sitting. So it makes me very irky, and I'm an irky person anyway. So I call up, and I get this marvelous woman here on the phone, and I say to her, I wrote to them, anyway, it was a discussion, I say, a city can be friendly to girls, but still the girls will not be equal. Friendliness is not equality. So we had the discussion we had. She said, what are you suggesting? I said, I suggest a human rights city. So I'm very proud to tell you that the whole group of Asian girls, including them, are now calling themselves human rights organization. Actually, Asian Girls Human Rights. And that's the nicest gift I can get at the age of 84. And do tell me that I don't look it, okay? Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm here to really try to have all of you wonderful women of all ages, and it's wonderful to see you all here. Thank you for coming. That we have no other option but human rights. I went to several meetings here. Everybody speaks of all the things human rights are, but they speak it not in an interconnected and interrelated way. What human rights enables us to do, it's not an approach, by the way, it's a framework. What human rights enables us to do is to have a way of life. I like even to talk about it as traffic regulation. And let's look at if I give you an example, let's have a village or a city or a country that has perfect traffic regulation, but the people don't know about it. And that's the tragedy of the world. We have wonderful traffic regulations called human rights, wonderful way for us to relate to one another. So we are calling it human rights as a way of life. And our goal in the world today is for all the 7 billion people in the world to know, to own, to act a plan with God, guided by the human rights framework. Now, you may not know, forgive me, I'll give you a 2-minute lecture of what human rights are. You know, it started with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Then it had a political, civil, economic, social, cultural covenant. It's not a convention, it's a covenant, because it's a covenant with moral authority. Okay? According to the Bible, Abraham has a covenant with moral authority. He cannot go back to pagan images and slaughter his son. So he makes a covenant on the sanctity of life. So the first norm and standards about human rights are called political, civil, economic, social, cultural covenants. Okay? The rest of it are conventions. And we are here in a way because of the Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. There are 2 more which are very important for you just to remember and know. There is one against racism and one's for children. Because what people said, and this is actually why I'm here, when they wrote these 2 covenants, and there are 2 because political and civil was the West, economic, social, and cultural was the Soviet Union, they didn't want to work with one another. But what happened was that they said, okay, what about women? What about women? When you talk, it's a patriarchal world, it's still one. What about women? And we said, all of us, we need a convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. The problem that we have in the world is that people don't know about it. I'll give you an example. Bangladesh ratified the convention. You know, governments have to ratify it. So they can then, you can claim it from your own country. And Bangladesh did ratified it, but with 5 saying, how do you call it?
Reservations?
Yeah, 5 reservations. And the women started learning about human rights. And they lobbied their government, and now they have only 2. Meaning each one of us must learn, know, and own human rights. And the most important thing for us women is to become mentors of human rights. I want to tell you, I'm doing this work now for 25 years. I'm originally an Israeli. I left the country because I didn't like what's happening with the Palestinians, and whatever I did, I couldn't get anybody to speak of the Palestinian being human beings, so I left the country. But I decided that the one thing that we are missing and that we have to do is to start recognizing the humanity of the other as our own. And I'm very much for any women organization to really understand that each one of you should become a mentor of human rights. And we have a lot of materials, we have a lot of services, and we can really give it to you because this is the way to reach equality. And equality is not sameness. Equality is equal in dignity. I have learned from a man from Sudan who told me that dignity is in every human being. You can't take it away. But very often, because of oppression, people exchange their dignity for survival. And this is what happens to women all over the world, and this is what this meeting here, all around this house and building is now going on. So what I'm trying to promote, and what I would want each one of you is here, to really see yourself that you have a goal to have discussions with men about human rights. I have a husband and 3 sons. They are wonderful human beings, and I've learned a lot from them of what means being a man, as much as we can learn. And I have learned from them that it's very difficult to be a man. A man always has to perform, physically and metaphorically. And this is why they live on the vertical. They have to hold on to, they need power. That's the only way they can, the fear of what I call, forgive me, the erection syndrome, this is what keeps them to be strong. And we have to understand it, and men have to understand us. We can talk from here to doomsday. Forgive me, I'm being very, very volatile about it. You can speak about prostitution, you can speak about trafficking of women, you can speak of all these issues. But unless, these are all symptoms, but unless we start a discussion with men. Let me give you a little metaphor. I walk in the street, there's a stone. I fall down. Everybody picks me up. I'm a nice old lady. Nobody removes the stone. Okay? I appeal to the men who are here in the group and to help the women go into discussion of how we can really express our sexuality in different ways than power. Whoever we are, men, women, LGBTs, etc. Okay? Anyway, we want to express our humanity. But there is only one and only one guideline. I have another 3 minutes, right? 5 minutes, good. Raise the 2 minutes for me, okay? So we have to, I believe, and I think we made copies for you of the short version of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I really suggest to each one of you, read it and you'll see what it means, what dignity means. And the idea is, and you will agree with me with that every human being alive wants only one and one thing. Every human being is to belong. And we say to belong in dignity, in community with others. Now, belonging also is to a man's group. Belonging also is to a woman's group. Belonging also is to a gang, where my being is affirmed. So what we are saying, we have to belong in dignity in community with others. And let's look at human rights. Many people speak of human rights as an approach. Did I speak about it already? I said human rights is not an approach, it's a framework. It's the banks of the river in which life can flow freely. And when we learn about human rights, and when the floods come, and you as a Pakistani knows how often they come, for women and for others, Not that they don't come in the United States or in Palestine, they come all over. But when the flood comes and we know human rights, we can make the banks higher and let the river continue to flow. It looks theoretical, but it's not. I have another 2 minutes to speak, but 1 minute, okay. So the thing is, we have left some materials in the back. What we are doing, and we can talk later about it if time allows, we are creating human rights cities around the world. And in the human rights cities, we try to solve all the problems that the CSW is speaking about, but through a human rights framework, taking human rights as a way of life. So if one thing you could take away from this meeting today here, the young girls that I met, that I talked with her many times on Skype, I want to tell you, they have adopted human rights as the name of their organization. And Asian girls adopted the name as human rights. Not because I told them, it's because I said to them what they knew but didn't express. So I'm sure that everyone in this room, if you learn about human rights more, and some materials we left, anyone who wants a card from me, I'll give you so you can learn more, is because each one of you, human rights are inalienable. We are born with it. It's ours. But we don't know how to relate to one another on it. And if you want later, we'll speak of how we can do it in human rights cities. Thank you very much.